All right, welcome everyone to another edition of Deconversion Stories. Today, we got something a little bit different. I'm Neil Six for Atheist, of course, and to my, I guess for you guys, would be to your right is Mr. Mikey Famine, my co-host,
Hello.
and brother from another mother, and also our guest tonight is Stephanie Kemmerer. Is that how it's pronounced?
Yep, you said it
Oh.
right.
Well, yeah, I practiced for a week, so I think I probably should have
In the mirror every morning. He's brushing his teeth.
Kemmerer. So yeah, welcome to the show, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me.
I got a button for
Pleasure to be here.
Now we got, as you guys know, we usually do some form of deconversion story. So, but tonight we have a different kind of deconstruction, I guess you would call it, from the world of conspiracies, like shit, like probably all the ones you're familiar with, and QAnon and all that nonsense. So, Stephanie, I guess you were once kind of a believer in things like these.
So hard. So hard.
But I do like
it was my heroin.
Oh, all right.
That helps.
I do like the fact that you said it was your doubts that started your escape, we'll call it, from this type of belief system. And probably you applied more and more critical thinking to these things that you believed in. So kind of what do you think was like the worst one you probably believed in?
Sandy Hook.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hands down, Sandy Hook. Well, you know what? Now that I think about it, it might be neck and neck with no planes, because in both cases, I was denying the lives and deaths of real human beings. And with no planes, I'm denying more deaths. I'm not, if you're talking about the numbers of deaths that you're denying being worse, I'm not. I mean, they were just really bad. I wouldn't have gotten to Sandy Hook without no planes. And my mind didn't.
No planes.
Basically, now I just want to make a general statement. It is easy to understand how people get confused by 9/11. That's just a blanket statement. I understand that, and and I understand the people that brought up like, oh, was there really a Flight 93? Did it really crash? Did they shoot it down? Well, those questions start leading to, was there a 93? And because,
you're talking about the flight numbers. I'm just
yeah.
So what I want to do real quick, I want you to take a breath, and I want you to go super slow, because this is an international audience, so they may not know the ref. You know what I mean? They don't pick up on right away, so we'll have to kind of describe what you're describing in a way.
Okay, well, basically, there's two different, like, I guess, sides of the no plane movement. No plane basically thinks that all four planes on 9/11 didn't exist in one form or another. and there is an understanding with 93 because it crashed in a field in Pennsylvania and like nobody saw it, and then you start getting into the Pentagon, and the Pentagon was actually hit by a missile. And if you're watching the right stuff, you can make that seem believable. But then I came across September Clues, which told me that the planes in New York City were CGI. So
2001, man, that would have taken. I think the best CGI we had in 2001 was like the Scorpion King 3 or whatever it was. That shit sucked.
You're not thinking like a conspiracy theorist. If I were to go back and tell them that, they would say, oh, but the government has technology that we don't know about.
And Hollywood,
the government has everything we don't know about.
And Hollywood, full of millionaires and billionaires, couldn't get their hands on this technology. There's no
Right. So, I do think that when you get to the extreme level of conspiracy theories, you start, and a lot of conspiracy theories are really boiled down to denialism. I was denying that people existed. And if, without even realizing it, you're on the same route as the Holocaust deniers. And I was always a person that when I came across that, I'm like, ew, fuck this shit. You people are sick to say that this didn't happen. And I didn't realize, It doesn't have to have a racial motivation or a genocidal motivation for you to be a denialist. You don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm. A friend of mine put it, I had mentioned that you were coming on the show, and we were talking a little bit about conspiracies. He goes, for some people, it's like an addiction.
It is.
You get addicted to it, and you don't really realize that you're addicted to it. So,
mm-hmm.
And he by the way, he told me to tell you, kudos for your doubting and freeing yourself from it. So,
thank you. I mean, I kind of knew that I was addicted while it was happening. So it's kind of like that line in Fear and Loathing where they're talking about the ether, and he's like, which is amazing because you can watch yourself behave in this terrible manner. So I had this horrible self-awareness while like doing some of this shit. So that was kind of even more horrible.
Yeah. And so I think it's, oh, go ahead.
No, you said what you're going to say first because mine leads to something else. So.
All right. And I think it's like that same little endorphin hit that people get by going to Bible study or remembering a verse, remember the chapter and verses. It's just those little hits, those little baby hits of endorphins. They're like, oh, I remember they were talking about this and that other conspiracy I was on, and they were talking about this and this other thing, and they were talking. And then as soon as you start every like little like false connection that you draw parallels to, it just gives you another hit of the good stuff. And now it's starting to make sense. See, I'm putting it all together now, man. It's all actually
remember that conspiracy theory you're talking about.
The slot machine will pay out until you increase your bet. Once you start increasing your bet, that's when the slot machine stops paying out, and it gets harder and harder to make those connections. You know, eventually you hit a wall, and I had hit a wall with 9/11. I was like, I need more. I need a different kind of heroin, you know? And then I came across like Arctic ice Nazis. I'm like, nope. And then flat Earth. I'm like, nope. And
wait, you mean in the Antarctic? Where the big circle, they got UFOs in there?
There's
what do they call them?
Like Arctic. Yeah.
There's Nazis in the South Pole.
Yeah.
There's Nazis everywhere, man.
On the moon too, apparently.
Have you seen some of those penguins?
Yeah, I saw him marching around. You saw his little arm go up, looking like Elon Musk. Yeah, I saw that shit.
Yeah. But you know, you just keep looking for something else that's going to fill that hole. And for me, the funny thing is that feeling that I got with the 9/11 stuff, I have it now with 9/11 stuff, but with reality, like I've read the book 102 Minutes. I've read it like 4 times.
What is that about?
It's just like all the events of the day of 9/11, and you know, the cultural impact and the stories of escape. Those are my favorites. Those were stolen
Iron Maiden here. Woe to you, O earth and sea, for the devil sends his beast with wrath. Anyway, sorry. That's the beginning of Number of the Beast song there.
6,
oh, okay.
6, the number of the beast.
Yeah.
Love me some Maiden.
Yeah.
Not
Fucker's
familiar, really.
Too. With Iron Maiden, in fact, Dickinson, the singer, is a pilot too. He flies planes and shit.
Is he really?
They should do like a super band of like all the lead singers or band members that have like PhDs. So you need like the guy from Bad Religion. And you know, that would be a great super band.
You could get Tom Morello and Zach De La Rocha from Rage Against the Machine because they both have masters in political science.
That does not surprise me.
And people were surprised that the machine that they were mad at was the government. Funny. What other machine could they have been talking about? Neil, you had something to
yeah, and I forgot now.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Too. Sorry.
So aside from like the heavy hitters, let me change my question. There are some things that are conspiracies, right? Like Watergate was a conspiracy. We just found out about it Yeah, you know what I mean? Like we found out about it and prosecuted the people responsible and impeached homeboy Nixon and the whole nine. So were there any kind of like real conspiracies that you stumbled across and then you had to be like, wait a minute. All right, wait. I know I thought that was a conspiracy theory. That one was a real legit conspiracy theory. Have any of them proved true is what I'm getting at.
Not that like, well, like in the sense that, yeah, there are 9/11 conspiracies, but aside, other than like the 19 hijackers, and one of those conspiracies was like the building code and the way the building was built. Not necessarily that was a conspiracy, but the building code itself, because the Port Authority was exempt from some of the state laws and they had ownership of the World Trade Center. The building codes weren't the same as they were in other buildings, but that's not really conspiracy. You know what I mean? And the Saudi Arabian connection.
Also, they were built in the 70s, so you gotta remember that.
Yeah, but the Saudi Arabian thing, and the government doesn't really want to kind of talk about that too much, But
well, no, we had other interests.
Yeah.
So did you think that 9/11 was an inside job?
No, it was. Some people say that the government let it happen on purpose, which is lie hop. Others say the government made it happen on purpose, which is my hop. I say that it was just snafu. It was just layers upon layers of fuck ups, layers upon layers upon layers, and it was confusion, and it was just chaos. So it. Yeah.
People have to remember there were no there wasn't the whole TSA in place back then. You just bought a ticket at the thing, paid cash, got on the plane. It was like catching the bus. It wasn't like it is now.
And people were allowed knives up to 4 inches. And looking back on that, I'm like, even if 9/11 hadn't have happened, wouldn't you think that's not a good thing?
What do you need a knife on the plane for? Like to open your peanuts? I know they're hard to open.
Well, let
me shaving.
Hold on a sec. I have one of these.
Yeah.
A knife.
Okay. It is a multi-tool that happens to have a knife in it. And when I go through, they always take it out and they measure it, and it's under 4 inches. It's like not even 3 inches. So,
and that's all you need to get your honey roasted peanuts open at 35,000 feet.
Yeah.
So what about like other, like, were you ever a Holocaust denier? Were you ever
no?
Like the Sandy Hook thing, you did kind of fall under that one.
UFOs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was when I was a kid. That when I kind of first got into like the weird and wonderful.
The first one.
I used to love ufology.
and I was kind of like coming into it, and like I guess it was sort of like, I mean, not a golden age overall, but the golden age in like my generation of UFOs and stuff, where it hadn't yet been completely overrun by the cranks. Like there were still serious like UFO people back then. There were people out there who wanted to find Bigfoot and didn't think that it involved telepathy. Like that.
But my moon crystals charged up in the. I charged them in the full moon last night. I'm sure I can find them now.
Yeah, but so I never really got. I mean, as a kid, you're not really like into like political conspiracies and stuff like that. But I just got into archaeology when I was like 7 or 8, and so when you're reading about archaeology, you're going to start reading about lost cities, which is going to take you to Atlantis, and then you're going to find UFOs, and you're going to find ghosts.
You fall down the rabbit hole.
Where did you think Atlantis was?
As a kid, I didn't.
My backyard.
As a kid, like all that stuff was real to me, but I didn't, I was absorbing it, but not really like consuming it, if that makes any sense, because you're just a kid.
In the back of your mind, you probably had this desire for it to be something real, I imagine, as I did as a kid.
I mean, what could be more fun than like, I mean, you wake up in the middle of the night and there's a ghost standing in your room. That's kind of cool. Those things are, seeing something weird in the sky, seeing a bizarre creature in the middle of the woods. These things they're scary, but they're also like, they're good fun. It's like the same scare that you get on a roller coaster, in a sense. You get that same feeling.
What's up, Paulie? Yeah. So when I was younger, I believed in a lot of weird ass shit too, like ufology and Bigfoot and aliens and fucking Atlantis and lost civilizations. Although we do have real lost civilizations, except they're not lost anymore because they dug them up, right? And they found them. Oh, look at this, right? And a lot of these finds have actually moved dates back for when people settled and stuff like that, especially here in North America. So we now have sort of rewritten some of our history books a little bit with some of the new stuff that they found, which is great, because that's really what science is about, is correcting itself when it stumbles into something that's incorrect, right? Or the previous thought they had or knowledge that they had was a little bit off, and then they adjust it to what we now know to be the case, right? So I want to know, did you ever like belong to any religious cults or anything like that, like a Heaven's Gate type thing or anything? Or
no. Like when I was a kid, there was just weird push and pull with my parents. My mom, I think she might have been like maybe secretly practicing witch. I'm not sure, but I know she was like definitely like agnostic or atheist, and I would describe her as like kind of spiritual and witchy. And but I also had this I also had a dad who was kind of wanting to kind of explore religion, but my mom was the goalkeeper and she wouldn't let him quite make that goal. And so I used to go to like the vacation. Yeah, I used to go to vacation Bible school because, and I think this is how they get you, because like the parents love it because you're out of the house for a little bit, and like you're doing activities and stuff. But as a little kid, you're like, if you're coloring in this picture meticulously of Jesus while someone's telling you Jesus loves you, Jesus loves you, that's like, so I mean, I dabbled with church, but I never, and I had some friends that were in the OTO.
What's the OTO?
That's the Ordo Templi Orientis, which was the offshoot of Aleister Crowley. It was Aleister Crowley's offshoot of the Golden Dawn. Yeah.
I have his tarot deck, actually. Golden Dawn. Oh my God. Rosicrucians. Holy crap.
Yeah. There's a Rosicrucian museum here, not far from me in San Jose. It's pretty
interesting. I have no idea what any of that stuff is. What is that stuff? What are y'all talking about? What's a Rosicrucian? Yeah, what is that?
It's kind of like, isn't it almost like it's not really part of IM, but it's kind of parallel, sort of like that whole mysticism movement.
It is a mysticism movement, and it's Rosicrucians. They were like an order of I guess they would consider themselves to be mages, I guess, or something like that, and they could
I know what it is, but I can't define it.
Can they fly?
Here, let me see what they say here.
Google.
And I have an old ad from like the 1930s for like ordering like in the mail, like ordering out for like a Rosicrucian book or something.
The Rosicrucian order is a fraternal order that combines occultism with other religious beliefs and practices.
A lot of it use a lot of Egyptian stuff.
Yeah.
They have mummies at the Rosicrucian Museum. That's why a lot of people go there. They have no idea it's like occult stuff. They're like, I want to see mummies.
So Rosicrucians believe that they possess a secret wisdom passed down from ancient times. Rosicrucian teachings include Hermeticism, Jewish mysticism, and Christian Gnosticism. So there you go. It's a kind of a mix of different things.
Yeah. But no, I mean, I've started took so long to answer what should have been an easy question. I've dabbled with religions, but not cults or anything. But I've never.
Religions are cults in my book. So.
Well, yeah. But I mean, traditional religions, or what you would consider like an NRM or cult,
Yeah.
No involvement, luckily.
So they have all kinds of bizarre sort of beliefs and stuff like that, but they're based in the Abrahamic faiths, it seems. So, and they're an amorc, which is the ancient mystical order Rosicrucius, or whoever the fuck that was. But
the rose
cross.
Yeah.
Cross. Golden Dawn. So the golden and rosy cross. So there you go. Yeah, that's where the Golden Dawn stuff comes from.
Like I know what I know what it is just by like vibe, but I just can't define it really.
And if you look at this real careful, if there's any Yu-Gi-Oh fans out there,
Yu-Gi-Oh,
there's one of their symbols right there, which looks just like the puzzle from Yu-Gi-Oh, the puzzle necklace that Yugi wears.
I've been so like ruined by the stuff that I like research and stuff like that. Every sigil to me looks like something evil now. Like I have a throw blanket on my bed and it has all these like occult sigils on it. I found it at like one of those like discount stores like Ross or something. And I look at it and I'm just like, man, all this stuff used to look so cool. Now every time I see it, I'm like, is that person a Nazi?
Right.
Well, the symbols that the Nazis took and bastardized for their own purposes.
Right. But
that
I mean, now
been around in multiple civilizations for many, many years.
Yeah. But now, I mean, like with the ONA and stuff like that, like shit's getting extra weird.
There we go. Found what I was looking for.
Secret wisdom, Calgon. Calgon, take me away.
Secret wisdom, take me away.
Yeah.
But the thing about like the Rosicrucians offering a secret wisdom, that idea isn't very different than conspiracy theories. I mean, they operate on the same mechanism.
They tap into the same part of your brain, right? So
yeah,
it's interesting, and of course, now through neuroscience, we learn why us humans are so easily tricked into things. It's because your brain literally wants to go down these routes.
Because it's interesting.
And it's a leftover of evolution. Like we would be dead if we didn't know how to make connections.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes, you're going to make some wrong connections, and that's where things kind of go squirrely, and you end up down these rabbit holes and stuff like that. So what's your take on things like the Area 51 and things like that? Like, do you think that that's a real thing? And do you think that they have captured aliens or...
Well, okay, as a conspiracy, when I was a conspiracy theorist, if you asked that question, what I would tell you is if there really was anything at Area 51, we wouldn't know that Area 51 existed, which that is actually a rational, logical way to look at it, even as a conspiracy theorist. Asking me now, if there was anything at Area 51, they wouldn't let us know about it, but, Roswell and all the stuff with Area 51, like the Roswell connection with Area 51, when all this shit started blowing up.
Mm-hmm.
Roswell happened in 1947. The Roswell shit didn't start getting big until like the 1960s.
Right.
We needed money, okay? No one was coming to our damn town, and we needed some money.
So my answer now is, and also I've read Mirage Men, and the government might have created UFOs to fuck with people. So
oh no, they have. That's called the TR-3B, I think, or something like that.
So I'm giving you the same answer I would have given you as a conspiracy theorist. It's just there's a bit added on to it now because I know more. But no, and that's one of the things that I did consider as a conspiracy theorist with stuff like the Illuminati and stuff like that. And I was like, if there was an Illuminati and they're as powerful as you say they are, then why are there so many fucking books about them? Right. But even without strictly believing in the Illuminati, if you believe that like mass shootings are staged, then you are kind of believing in this all powerful, sense of control. So, but yeah, like, no, the reason why real conspiracies come out like in drips and drops is because they're real and because that's the way that stuff comes out. It's not, all like, these books and stuff. If this shit was really that top secret, then why are you still alive?
I mean, I'm not like a government insider, but I'm fairly certain that at the same time everybody was seeing UFOs.
Your background.
Wait, what do you mean?
I like that.
Strings. This connects to this.
I knew I had that picture somewhere.
All right, there, Fox Mulder, settle down there.
Just, but like, we were at a Cold War, and then like all of a sudden, all these alien sightings are coming, and now you can go on History Channel. Well, not History Channel anymore because they're full on crazy pants. But like any kind of like military history documentary, and like look up like the Bulwarks, like. It was a whole government site specifically meant for making secret, super awesome planes. So they lied about a bunch of shit. And they're like, aliens? Look, I couldn't tell you if it was aliens. And I was like, I think they think it's aliens. Let's go with it. Yeah, you know, the aliens, they're here, you know. And then all of a sudden, and then next thing you know, we have a Nighthawk. Next thing you know, we have a Blackbird.
Yeah.
And then we have upgrades to the Warthog and all this. So like we lied.
Advancements in technology. You fucking
stop taking pictures of us. We're trying to make cool shit.
And there is actually a potential. My friend Quacks and I are going to kind of like research this in more detail, but there might be an MK Ultra connection to UFOs. And now, this is why I say we have to research this further, because I came across John Keel recounting a man's encounter with a man in black. This was like the 60s or 70s. I think it was 60s. I think he said it was like in the 60s. And so this guy supposedly saw a UFO, and he's reporting it to John Keel. And then the guy saw like a weird light in the sky. Next night, he met a man dressed in a fancy black suit who blew smoke, like some kind of smoke, at him. And then the man doesn't remember stuff that happened afterwards. And that,
what?
You know, like,
so it's like the flash thingy from the Men in Black movie.
But it's almost as if like some of these Men in Black stuff might. Some of them, it's almost like some of the Men in Black stuff could have been, you know, these could have been people who were being dosed, you know. And this one account, it's like, it's what makes me wonder.
I forget which country it is. There's a country in, somebody help me in the chat. There's a country in South America where there's like a drug where they like blow the drug in your face. You know what I'm saying? And then like you get all like suggestive and shit like that, and they'll have people like helping them move out. And it's like, yeah. Like, dude, why did you let them steal all my stuff? It's like, dude, you help them. Like, you help them load up your TV and couch and shit into their car. Don't you remember? I was asking you, is that your friends? Are you good? And you were like, yeah. And like they have no recollection of, like, I gotta find it now. It's like a zombie.
Yeah, drug. I'm looking for it too.
I bet that's what they did.
A zombie drug?
You're gonna find a lot of if you Google zombie drug, it's gonna be xylazine.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's an additive, a veterinarian non-opioid additive that's being put in fentanyl, and it causes deep wounds. I saw a picture of a guy who's in like 2 inches of his chest down to his like rib cage were like rotted away from this stuff. It's not meant for humans, but they're putting it in the fentanyl, and it's really messing people up. I one day I did it. I like looked up real life zombies on YouTube, and that sent me down this like whole thing about Kensington and fentanyl. It was just horrifyingly sad.
I think it was Vox. Let me see if I can find it. There was like a Vox. I want to say it's Vox, but they're Flocka. Is it Flocka? Yeah.
No. I thought it was scopolamine. Scopolamine. That's the one that, and it's actually you know, they use it for like in operations and stuff for like anesthesia, but scopolamine's the one that the guy was drugged with, and they took him to his ATM and he helped him out all this. Yeah, scopolamine.
So you're saying xylene, right?
Xylazine. Yeah, that's the if you just Google zombie drug, that's what'll come up.
It was in Colombia. Vice went to Colombia to check out a strange and powerful drug called scopolamine, also known as devil's breath. And yeah, dude, like we had some dealing. The American government had some dealings in Colombia. Maybe they grabbed a bag of this shit. And if you make it look like a cigarette and you just blow a straw of that bullshit in your face, you could tell them anything and they will 100% believe you.
Yeah, they did. The government actually, they didn't just use LSD for MK Ultra. They used mushrooms, which I'll volunteer for that project. Thank you. I'll volunteer for Project Midnight Climax. Yes, you can watch me through a window while I'm dosed and having sex with a prostitute. Sure, go ahead.
You got me.
But there is, the interesting thing is like when you're able to look at this stuff from a rational mind, I'm still able to make connections and analyze stuff, but I'm analyzing it, from a different reality-based perspective. The connections I'm looking for aren't leading me to some weird dark sewer, Yeah.
And the good thing about like researching real things is there's always more shit to do. So instead of like, I need to find more stuff or else I can't get my fix of like dopamine hit of cracking a code. You just get, it's like you get an extra library every time you unlock one. As soon as you prove one thing to be true, you get a whole library of more things to do research on, because there's a lot of shit that's happened since we started writing it down.
And it's also more interesting to like study these things from because I quote unquote studied in 9/11, and by study 9/11 as a conspiracy theorist, I mean I watched a bunch of videos. And I would go on above top secret and stuff like that. But it's not. My brain gets a little fuzzy at night. I think
no worries.
I might be having. So remind me what I'm saying if I start to. Sorry.
We're just casually talking. We haven't really like given you like a hard question or anything. So you're
I'm
not
just
really
casually
answering anything. You're just telling us in front of us all.
Yeah, xylazine apparently is just for veterinary use, allegedly, but it has been known to be mixed with most frequently fentanyl. So
yeah.
But it's not an opioid, and I don't see anything about lesions here at all. So
just look up xylazine.
Yeah, but correlation doesn't always causation. Remember that.
Well,
it might have been something else that caused that.
Right, but one of the things that no, this is a common thing on. In fact, the people
nowhere. Here, so. Is it a Z or an X?
It's with a Z. Xylazine wounds. People have used xylazine also report other effects. Repeated xylazine use can cause painful and difficult to treat skin and muscle sores. If left untreated, the sores can grow and become infected and lead to patches of dead and dying tissue.
Don't Google the picture of it. Holy shit.
Yeah, and that when in a bunch of the videos I watched, when they were interviewing like the street, like the counselors who go. Yeah, when they were interviewing the counselors on the street, they were pointing out that
you have to inject it for that to happen, FYI.
Yeah, and they said that it usually happens at the preferred injection site, but it can occur other places. And that's how the wound is how a lot of these like counselors will tell who's getting the tainted supply and stuff like that.
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, it's really
it's not really supposed to be for human use. So.
Yeah, don't do that, y'all. No. Don't do that.
And it doesn't even really get you high. Like there's no high to it.
It's not an opioid.
It's like that baking soda and cocaine. It doesn't do anything. It's just there.
It's also a nervous system suppressant.
Yeah.
And it can lead to patches of dead and dying tissue.
Again, don't
Google it. Good old-fashioned necrotic fasciitis.
Do not Google it.
Oh, holy fuck. Are you kidding me?
I told you.
That's nasty.
That's some gross shit.
Yeah, those are the things I find when I Googled real life zombies. I was just trying to have fun with it. Like, maybe somebody made a cute video.
Away and there's fucking bones sticking out.
Yeah,
with a huge hole.
Yep.
Not a good day.
Well,
Yeah.
we've seen better days, that's for sure.
And I mean, blocking
That's
the fentanyl
crazy.
outside of this country isn't going to stop the xylazine.
Well, because he wants us to watch our fentanyl, like less than fucking 4% of the fentanyl that ever gets to the U.S. comes from here. So
1%, less than 1%.
1%.
And
Well,
the
I'd say up to
xylazine,
4.
which somehow makes something deadly even more deadly. The xylazine is easy to get. People can get it online. Shit. But that's not, you can't stop that coming in the country. So, you know, fighting
Yeah,
a
you can get it
losing
from your
battle.
veterinarian.
Yeah.
Tons of mice. I Googled it. Vomits.
Yeah, I tried to warn you guys. I did. I know there's like
Yeah.
a 2-second delay. I was trying to save it. That was, oof.
Don't look at the stuff I look at, man.
Yeah. I have a broken gear inside that is fine, and it's totally used to this. My transmission can handle it. Y'all are normal. Don't look at that shit.
Yeah, that's what I tell people when people are like, "Oh, watch out! This footage from this shooting was on Twitter." I'll go and I'll look at it and I'll be like, "Okay, here's my opinion. It's really bad. You should see it." You know, I'm like, I saw it, so you don't have to. And
Dave
and I'll describe like the first few seconds of it. I'll be like, if you see that, turn away. That's what's happening. So yeah.
Actually, Dave, what you put there is right. Like, why is he talking to us about defending his border? Like, what are you talking about? You have guys at your side that we have to go through. It's your problem, not ours. Talk to your people, your border people. Tell them not to let him through.
Doing all the shit that his base like wanted him to do, and like the whole thing with sending people to Guantanamo, sending immigrants to Guantanamo. Motherfuckers on the QAnon. Come on, you can't tell me you don't know what a big role Guantanamo Bay plays in QAnon lore. Come on, dude.
Yeah, that's not happening.
Yeah,
a lot of Democrats are starting to get sick and tired of the bullshit that he's doing, and they're like binding together and talking about we got to bring this shit to an end because this guy's just insane.
Well, Congress hadn't been called back yet. That's why he's trying to sneak all this bullshit through before the cops come on. You know what I mean? Like the adults are coming back into the room, so they're trying to force feed all this shit through the process before everybody gets back. Nah, brother. I
don't know if there are any more adults left.
Yeah, I think what is it in 2026? You guys have the I guess election for the Senate or something. People that are going into the Senate.
Midterms, I guess, if we're gonna have one. Who knows now?
Yeah, that's true too.
I'm sorry.
Well, I do know that there are a lot of people that are not letting him do things that are against the Constitution. They're going to say no, that is not constitutional, and you can't.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, at this point, I mean, so much. I mean, Musk is not elected, and he's running around like a little baby, no dick God king. Yep. And if you drive a Tesla, I'm going to tell you right now, the time to get rid of that fucking piece of shit was several years ago. But if you're still driving one,
switch to Polestar, superior vehicles.
But honestly, at this point, if you're still driving a Tesla, even if you don't like Musk, even if you don't like the shit he's doing, you are advertising for him. So you're an enemy if you own a Tesla.
See the goddamn Tesla fucking Cybertrucks around here all of a sudden?
Oh, I see them all over the place because I live in Silicon Valley.
Fuck, they're ugly.
Yeah, and their drivers are too.
I see one drive by and I'm like, oh, sorry about your penis, bro.
I saw 2 today. 2. I saw 2.
That's because everybody's selling them. So there's gonna everybody's like on their, you know, these Cybertrucks on their like 4th, 5th owner, and these guys like, oh yeah, check me out, and then they end up selling it too. They are a money pit. No one wants to hold on to that thing.
Steven Spielberg should make a movie about him. Starring Tom Hanks
and
Shelley Long.
I just watched the Tom Hanks movie the other day because we had a snow day, so I was kind of bored, and I watched one called Finch.
Okay. Isn't that with?
It's a cute film.
Isn't
it's Tom Hanks?
Oh no. Okay, I was thinking it was with.
He has the dog and the robot that he builds, and it's dystopian. It's past the giant solar flare wipes out like almost everything.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
And and he builds this robot, and they drive around in this motorhome, and they're going to San Francisco because the robot wants to see the Golden Gate Bridge. And as they get further and further north, they notice things are starting to get greener and greener. So like this area was less affected than around the equator-ish type area. So you could walk outside and not get burnt by the UV rays. Like he would stick his hand out in Arizona, and all of a sudden you could see it start to bubble on his face. He's like, pull his hand back, like, holy shit. But as they go further north, you could walk outside and look up at the sun. He goes, holy crap, I can feel the sun on my face. And it wasn't burning him. So it was still a better area. So they.
And what kind of robot was it?
Just, he builds it. This is funky looking little robot that he builds. It's got like an orange tubey looking head with some eyes on like Johnny Five type eyes, but without the flaps and stuff around it. And it's really cool. And it was a cute film. It's not like action packed or anything. The aliens don't invade. There's no superheroes, so don't worry about that. But no giant volcanoes erupting or earthquakes or planes crashing. But it's still, there's a couple of tense moments, of course, in the movie because they like to put that stuff in. But it's worth a watch. Worth a watch, anyways. And I like Tom Hanks. I think he's a pretty good actor.
Oh, QAnon loves him.
Do they? Why?
No, they hate him. When he got sick, and him and his wife were stuck in Australia during COVID, and they got sick. Like I forget exactly what they were saying, but that like caused a huge uproar. And also like Wilson in Castaway was a reference to Frazzle Drip.
What? Who's Frazzle?
Because the volleyball Wilson had a bloody handprint on it, and then he drew a face in the bloody handprint.
Yeah,
they're saying that was a reference to Frazzle Drip.
I don't know that last word you're saying. That's what I was asking.
Frazzle. Sorry, I'm sorry. It's actually frazzled.rip, as in like a file extension, but everyone just calls it Frazzle Drip. And it's supposed to be this snuff film that was found on Anthony Weiner's computer in a folder titled Insurance. And it's Huma Abedin and Hillary Clinton assaulting a young girl and then wearing her face.
Here's what it looks like. There you go. So that's
Finch. Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, it's worth a watch.
I thought you were pulling up Frazzle Drip. I'm like, wait, it's really real?
No.
Blew my mind.
No.
So and everybody has like all these QAnon people have this story about, oh, I saw it. Here's a still frame of it, and all the still frames that they've posted claiming to be from this video that doesn't exist. They've all been identified from like legitimate sources and stuff. Right. So
so before we wrap up, is there any, I want to hear about some other conspiracies that you were kind of right on board with. I mean, other than Sandy Hook and some of the 9/11 stuff.
Well, I did get to a point where I had like, I guess you would call it a discernment phase where I was trying to figure out which shootings were real and which weren't.
Like Columbine, that kind of stuff.
Columbine, I remember it when it happened, like all that shit, and so I didn't, and then I, when I was coming across all this stuff, I'm like, they're retroactively false flagging Columbine. I'm like, that's so weird. And
are these the kind of things that started leading you from believing them away from
I think to some extent, but I also because I was like, oh, it's kind of suspicious. No. I was like, it's really suspicious that like, oh, the three big topics were like, Muslims, guns, and gays. And I'm like, and all these things just happen to happen in a shooting. How could that be? But I was watching this video of like Anderson Cooper reading off the names of all the people that died, and he's crying. And I'm like, okay, I know actors can fake and they can look convincing, but I don't think Anderson Cooper is an actor that's in on this. So I think Pulse is real, but I didn't apply that logic to Sandy Hook. I didn't apply that. I don't know how my brain was so broken that I could be logical sometimes and not logical other times. I don't.
Okay. First and foremost, Stephanie, you're not broken. You're human, and we can fall into
humans are broken,
right? Our brains work in funny ways. Your brain literally lies to you constantly all day.
Needs to.
It's the truth. right? It has to. So we can fall into these traps. I was in there in these sorts of areas as well. Not so much with the conspiracy theories, but I mean, aliens and ghosts and stuff. I used to believe in all that shit. Hell, I was an occultist for a long time. I still have Aleister Crowley's tarot deck here, for fuck's sakes. So I believed in all kinds of weird shit, right? Yeah, the Thoth deck, exactly. One of my first online names was Thoth, right? So because I was into Egyptology as well.
Yeah.
And now I'm into the actual Egyptology and stuff like that. But
which is also cool.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. But yeah, all the stuff I found fascinating. I have a book called Nothing in this book is True.
Oh, that's the disinfo publications or whatever, I think it is. Yeah, don't quite trust them.
wait. No, this is not. This is about
hidden
knowledge, forbidden knowledge, the big book of forbidden knowledge, stuff like that, right?
Oh, sweet.
Forbidden knowledge.
All the forbidden knowledge in one place? How convenient.
Yeah. You're going to have to add an H to the end of that, tons of mice. It's Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom. And he was also the record keeper.
No, you that hoe over there, Neil. You know that Thoth over there.
I'm that Thoth over there. Yeah. But I grew out of it all, or not grew out of it. I just eventually stopped believing in it because I couldn't really see actual evidence for any of it. So I was just like, okay, well, if there's not something tangible, then I'm not going to fall in line with this shit anymore, because it has to be something that we can at least observe and test and whatnot. But if you can't do that, then why fucking believe that shit? Well, which is also why I don't believe in gods or anything too, because there's nothing tangible for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think
I was actually going to ask you that if you're ever religious too.
I dabbled, but
yeah,
it never stuck. It never stuck. I would be more like, I was more like attracted to like spirituality and stuff like that. But now I also know that there's a danger with that.
Well, what is spirituality? Every person you ask is going to give you a completely different answer. There may be some ties, but they're going to be very different, right?
Yeah.
What's spiritual to me might be something that isn't very spiritual for Mikey over there. So
everything is spiritual to me. I'm like 100% gullible at this point. give me whatever theory you got. Let me hear that shit. I'm going to hear it all the way through to the end, and then I'll say no. But
no, Hillbilly, nobody needs to make a twerking video of me. That's quite all right. I can go the rest of my life without ever seeing that.
Tons of mice.
Stop it, footage. Stop it. Somebody did make one of those GIFs of me doing that one time. I don't know what happened to it. Anyway.
I won't find it.
Oh my goodness. The chat is insane.
I don't know. I don't know how they're allowed back in there every day, but they keep getting in here. The other Thoth.
We have lost the guest.
The government took her.
Yeah, they're on to us, folks.
She was getting too close to the truth.
It could be. Not sure what happened. May have been a malfunction on her end. I'm sure she'll pop back in here. So we'll give her a couple of minutes. Tried to join.
I didn't push it yet.
There's a connection. Yeah, maybe.
See, they shut us down, dog.
The Illuminati know.
Yeah, the lizard people. I wish there was lizard people. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Don't hide. We want to be friends with you. I want to see your lizard skin.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, something happened. Like you guys started going like bleh, bleh, bleh.
Oh, roboting. Yeah. Your connection probably kind of crapped out on you. Might be too many people sharing the same bandwidth or something.
Yeah.
It happens.
Or we were getting too close to the truth.
Probably. That's probably what happened.
Hi, Vesta. Long time. Yeah, so if there's something you wanted to talk about, but you haven't yet, now's your time.
I just wanted to, with using the word doubt as, as the acronym for my support group, and it stands for discussing our unusual beliefs together.
I like it.
That is cool.
And I do remember that voice of doubt. When I would type in 9/11 conspiracies into YouTube, I heard a little voice telling me to type debunk, and just kept telling it to shut up. And even I think, you know, and when my friend confronted me and said, "Hey, I worked with someone who lost a kid at Sandy Hook, like this shit's real," I felt this relief. Like I had this like, oh, thank God.
Not that the kid was killed.
No, but
it was real.
God that it wasn't fake. Thank God that I'm just crazy, that it's not the rest of the world that is like faking stuff and making people believe things that didn't happen. Like, I mean, and I know that sounds bad to say, oh, thank God people died. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, thank God I'm out of this.
You finally understand that it
God,
was real.
I accept it. Thank God I know it really happened.
Who? I was about to say, who are we thinking again?
Which one?
And last year, it's been about a year now. Last year, I reached out to Lenny Posner, who's the father of the youngest Sandy Hook victim, and he runs a support group called Honor Network, HONR. And he's helped people like who are being slandered online.
There's a link to it in the description box below, FYI.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I reached out to him and I told him my story. And he asked me, the very first thing he asked me, and I heard this, this is the first thing he asks a lot of people. What's your favorite conspiracy theory? And he asked me that, and I didn't think that was anything like unusual. And then I heard him mentioning that he asks some people that when he first talks to them. And I think that's a very interesting way to begin, because if you can tell someone what your favorite conspiracy theory is, that says a lot about their kind of who they are and where they are in their journey and stuff, you know. And
the vulnerability in their logic, perhaps.
Yeah. And the thing that I like so much about Lenny is that he knew that world. He said he said in countless interviews, when I dropped my son off at the school that day, the last day, I was probably listening to InfoWars as I drove off.
Wow.
Oh, good Lord. InfoWars.
And then they were the ones. Yeah.
So he knew that he had a better insight to this stuff. He was never a believer. He liked the possibility. And he's like one of those, like, he's like my husband. Like, he's so stoic. You could like shove him in a pool of that stuff and he's not going to come out a believer, because he's, you know, so, but just getting to know him and getting to help him. And, you know, it's been like, I hope it's as healing for him as it is for me. And I hope that other people take that initiative. Like, I never said anything about the parents publicly. I never stalked the parents or doxed them. I never did that stuff, because also I was thinking, you never know, you might be wrong. This stuff might actually be real, and you don't want to, you know. And but I think that
unring the doxing bell.
Yeah. I think the need to apologize, even if you've never directly said something to someone, I think that is an important thing. And that the person you're apologizing to may be like, who the hell are you? You never said anything to me. Why are you saying you're sorry? I still think it's important, even if that person never knew that you believe those things. I still think that's just to let someone know, like, hey, I changed my mind. I'm sorry I thought those things, and I support you. You know, I think that is an important step in recovery.
Yeah, because it's not only admitting it to yourself, but forcing yourself to confront your liar self. And this is like you grabbing liar you by the ear and dragging them in front up to the counter, like, don't you have something to say? Sorry, I stole gum. Yes, he's very sorry. Now come on, like, you have to do that to yourself and pull your pants down and spank yourself sometimes. You know what I'm saying, Neil?
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at like a list of conspiracy theories. And there's one called
don't do that.
There's one called Paul is Dead.
He is dead.
That's a
Paul
very
McCartney.
old one.
Paul McCartney, yeah.
That was a very old one. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that.
And that kind of that kind of goes
fake.
with,
yeah.
I call them they're
CIA
kind of
and AIDS.
They tie in with like the Paul is Dead and the Elvis stuff. That kind of ties in with what the best name I could come up with for it so far is death rumors, where either and you have several different categories of it, where it's either this person never existed and they were digitally faked and then digitally killed for some reason, or the person existed and they faked their death and went into obscurity, or they faked their death and became someone else. So there are all these different like conspiracy theories that have gone throughout history, where like there was this guy, Floyd Collins, stuck in a cave in the 1800s in Kentucky. And they were trying to get him out. And then some people started saying that he wasn't really down there. So we have these.
I am down here.
That we have all these weird. So it's like that was like an early crisis actor narrative. So we have all of these things all throughout history. And one of the things I want to find is the earliest crisis actor narrative. Like what? Because the word didn't exist until 1977. Well,
Jesus
actually, yes, Jesus crisis actor.
Jesus Christ. There you go. That's the name of the season 1, the Jesus Crisis actors.
Oh.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
But it's when you go back and you start kind of looking through some of the stuff historically, you just realize we've always been pieces of dog shit and we've always been fucking dumb. You had to interview Paul McCartney, and you need to interview Avril Lavigne's double too, because Avril Lavigne died several years ago, didn't you know?
Yeah, allegedly, yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember about Avril Lavigne is I saw her on. We had our version of MTV up here was Much Music at the time, and she was doing a live show out of Toronto or something like that. And she had this big fucking mic rig before they were downsized to smaller, and she had it on her belt that was pulling her pants down, so her butt crack was showing through the whole thing. I was just like, what the hell?
They got this thing loaded up with D batteries to fucking be the wireless. Yeah,
I think had more D batteries than my boombox in the 80s. For fuck's sake.
If you wanna
ghetto blast around fucking back belt loop.
If you want to see a really good Beatles conspiracy theory, look up Stephen King killed John Lennon.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Stephen King killed John Lennon. Like, what? The guy that did kill Lennon kind of looked like him. That's why they said.
Yeah, and that and something I came across when I was on the Rational Wiki.
They don't look alike. It's like,
there's a small subsection on Rational Wiki for the crisis actor page, and it talks about face blindness. And when I was reading that, it suddenly occurred to me, I'm like, I have a hard time recognizing someone unless I've spoken to them for more than like 5 minutes, or I see them regularly. And I'm like, and I'm always saying how much these two people look alike, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? I came to the conclusion that I have a form of mild face blindness. And this is what you see time and time again in these crisis actor things, like you see with the Stephen King guy.
Yeah,
he probably has face blindness, and Stephen King does look like what's his name? But
yeah,
that's because, and I noticed that they look similar, but I probably have face blindness too, and that comes up again and again with the crisis actors, where they're like, "How is this woman at 5 different shootings?" Because it's not the same woman. You just can't tell faces.
I think I watched a TED Talk. It's even worse across racial lines. Like everyone's pretty bad in general, but everyone's even worse outside of their own ethnic group. And it's just like, dude, eyewitness testimony has to go away because we just can't tell the difference between we can't tell. Like I like to pride myself on like, I think that person's from Japan. I think that person's from Morocco. Like I'll guess, but I would never just like think that that's right.
That's not Stephen King. I'm sorry.
That's Elvis.
that's
Elvis.
Mark David Chapman, right? The guy.
Okay.
What's Elvis?
Well, the pictures that he had on that website, I remember when I was looking at it, I'm like, these guys kind of look alike. But see, that's another thing they do is that they take a single still image that is in a set of many. And like with the Osama bin Laden, when they're like, this isn't really Osama bin Laden, it's a double. I'm like, dude, you're using one still frame from like, a 10-minute video, and the lighting is different. And,
Here.
I've told people I like to stare at pictures of Adam Driver, and it's the same man in every picture I look at, but depending on the hair length, depending on the lighting, depending on the angle, it can look like a different person. So,
you can tell it's Osama bin Laden or not. Is he 7.5 feet tall? You know what I mean? Like the dude was damn near 6.5 feet tall. You can tell if it's him or not.
And did he know the giant? And did he know the giant? There was like some story about like an Anunnaki Iraqi giant that was like helping us during like something just crazy ass shit, man.
And Nibiru, right. Did you ever buy into that Nibiru stuff? Like you listened to a lot of the Art Bell stuff. By the way, guys, Paul from Apologia was a big fan of the Art Bell show. And at some point, I'm going to go on there and talk with him about. Yeah, I just put that up, dude. I'm going to go on there and talk about the time I called into the Art Bell show.
What do you have the date?
I
have no idea. We haven't set it up yet. I don't know. But
what did you? I can search the database. Do you remember? How did you like?
Oh, you mean what? When did I? It was like way back in like '97, I think. And I had this idea. It wasn't really an idea because what I had said on the show is true to a degree. It was about whether or not there was ever life on Mars. And I called in and said, well, I have this kind of idea or theory or whatever, even though I was still kind of into the weird shit at the time. But I said, it's possible that there may have been some form of life on Mars because the sun was slightly larger a couple of billion years ago. And the heat might have been enough to form some form of life in there. And then I said, so what do you think about that? And he kind of hang up, and then he tells us, he does this whole spiel about whatever they call there. It's like asking me, well, how do you know that? I said, I'm pretty sure if you go to any of the cosmology type websites, you're going to find that the sun is shrinking, and then eventually it will balloon again and turn into a red giant, because that's how our sun's going to go out, apparently. So in the beginning of the solar system, the sun was slightly larger, and it was get a little bit smaller, and then it'll balloon in the end, another 5 billion years from now. So don't worry about it. It's not going to happen tomorrow, kids. But anyway, I phoned in with that little idea, and him and his guest, I think, talked about that for a bit. So yeah, it's kind of neat.
Well, I can send you the link for our the link for our searchable database is in my main.
It's also in the description box below.
Okay, I can't see that from where the setup that I'm on. So
it's got the guests that were on the shows at the time. There is. Don't get me wrong. Art Bell talked about a lot of wooey bullshit.
Oh yeah,
like anything from like magic to astral travel to you name it, and ufology. But he also had legitimate, at least physicists and stuff like Dr. Michio Kaku was on the show, or had been on the show a few times, talking about neat technologies that might come up in the future. That's actually the first time I ever heard of Michio Kaku was on that show, and I bought a bunch of his books too because he's got some really cool ideas and stuff. Yeah, he's also had other people on there that are legit scientists as well. But yeah,
you want me to crush your soul right now?
What's that?
Art had William Luther Pierce. Yeah. And he did.
By the way, I don't have a soul, so you can't crush that.
and he did push back against the stuff, but also he fed into it because he let this motherfucker on his show. Like, dude, you don't think that this Nazi isn't gonna know how to? And he let him get his fucking web address off. Pierce just rattled it off. It was the angriest episode I ever listened to because I know what Art was trying to do, but he was doing it wrong.
Yeah,
and
should never have had him on to begin with, in my opinion.
The way to push back against a Nazi is to not talk about the Nazi.
Yeah, like we're doing right now.
Or to say, fuck the Nazi.
It's okay to punch Nazis. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah, you don't have them on your show unless you're punching them on your show.
So we are well past the hour now.
Yes.
But Stephanie, I want to thank you for jumping in here with Mikey and I and going down this rabbit hole of an episode with us.
Yeah.
Of all the conspiracy type stuff. I'm pleased that your critical thinking elements kicked in and you were able to get your way out of there. I think that's great. Welcome to reality, I guess we could say.
I woke up at the wrong time.
We are going to do an after party, guys. Stephanie will decide whether or not, because you also suffer from fibromyalgia. Okay.
I can hang out for a little bit.
I'll send you a new link by email, by the way, because I've got it set up on a different
link.
Okay. But that's about it, guys. I want to thank all our members and all you guys for hanging out with us in the chat. It's awesome that you guys are here with us. Let me see. There's one. There you go. There we go. There's another one there. Thanks for supporting us in all the wonderful ways that you do. Member super chats and biddies and whatever that is. And you guys are the best. If you're able to and enjoy the show, the links to hang on here. What's going on here? I can't move it. Why can't I move it?
I never get it to move reliably.
There we go. There are ways to support us below. So check those out. And also check out the links I put for Stephanie's stuff as well is also linked below. There's a few links down there that I plucked from her email. So there you go. You can check that stuff out.
Oh, okay. What were you saying? It was cutting out again for me. It was like
I was just saying thank you to the chat and tell them about the links and stuff like that. Anyway, and I'm going to delete that one because I don't need that anymore. All right.
And then you'll send me a new link for the after thing.
I will shortly. We're going to take a quick little break between the two shows. I'm going to go have a quick smoke because I've been watching you guys do it online. It's been driving me nuts. So I'm going to go do that.
Okay.
And then we'll come back and jump into the after party. There's a link to the after party also in the description box below, guys.
Tons just one.
Don't post this episode and we'll start a rumor that it never happened. It's already posted. It's live.
We'll just take it down.
Me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you another link.
Okay.
Anyways, guys, until then, like I always say at the end of the interview part of the show, like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And don't fall for the bullshit rabbit holes. All right, we'll see you.
Don't do it. Bye.
Bye.
See you guys.